All right, so it's time for you to put on your tinfoil hat and go with me down a little bit of a rabbit hole. Here we go.
Official is telling Fox they believe the shooter acted alone. We're also learning that they can't get into his cell phone. They have it at Quantico, but haven't been able to get any data out of it. Back now.
So, FBI definitely says it's a lone shooter. They have his phone, but they can't get into it. That seems a little bit suspect. Actually, let's go to Ian Carroll. This guy has all the marks of a classic patsy play. Mentally unstable, young, impressionable loner. High school classmates say he had an atrocious shot, got ejected from the school gun club. Evidence that the way was laid out for him to get onto the roof, ladder, and lack of Secret Service coverage. Putting it in as the SS doesn't feel right. It's the Secret Service, not the SS. Anyway, a million questions about the Secret Service incompetence that sound an awful lot like sabotage from the inside. We don't know what happened yet. But think back to JFK. They sold the story of a lone gunman when in fact the true story was very likely an extremely complex orchestrated operation with multiple shooters and multiple layers of obfuscation after the fact. There is no reason not to assume this is a similar event. The odds are widely against this kid pulling this off all on his own, with no assistance or involvement at this point. And if there was any involvement, that implies it was likely a full-on op by someone. Think about it. Based on the evidence at this point, is it more likely that this kid managed to do it all on his own, or that any of the shadowy forces in this world were willing to plan an op and pick out a patsy? Regardless of what you conclude, we don't know the answers yet. Keep your mind open. Don't fuel hatred and division. Be kind to people. And yeah, it's all a bunch of conspiracy theory at this point because we don't know, and we're not being given the full story, or the full story hasn't come out yet. So let's take a little bit of a step back and let's listen to a trained sniper.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm here to tell you why the shooting of President Donald Trump yesterday, without a doubt in my mind, was a planned and coordinated attack on the president inside our government, our local agency, or police force. Here's why. My name is Matthew Murphy, and I am a retired Green Beret, retired from the Special Forces Group, but I'm also a level 1 sniper, which means that I have graduated the highest level of training for snipers that you can do in special operations. We're trained, I'm going to avoid confidential or classified terminology. We're trained in assassinations and counter assassinations for the very reason, case in point, yesterday, the shooting of President Donald Trump. So, first of all, anywhere the president's going to go, there are teams from the Secret Service that go out days, if not weeks, if not months, before the president will ever be at that spot. And they do a site security assessment. And they do that with the local police forces and agencies to ensure that every potential security threat or vulnerability is secured and, of course, protected against. Now, this is done way before Donald Trump will ever get there, and they know every place that the president will be, and the sniper team especially is responsible for ensuring that no one can take a shot at the president. Now, that does not mean that the sniper team just sets up with their guns and scans the crowd and shoots. No, what they do, the most important thing they do pre-Donald Trump showing up, is within a 360-degree environment of that podium of the president. They ensure that there is not a place that is open that will be accessible by someone with a rifle to take a shot at the president. So they make sure those places are barricaded off, inaccessible, and heavily guarded. So there is no way you are going to get to the place where you could even shoot the president with a rifle before the president shows up. Then they scan the crowd and those places of the rifle just in case by some miracle you do. Now, you're not going to tell me, I don't care who you are, don't listen to the media, nonsense anyways. I think most of us know that by now, that some 20-year-old kid that looks like he played Dungeons and Dragons in his mom's basement.
Dungeons and Dragons is fun. Don't let anybody tell you it's not. It's awesome, and this guy's wrong in that regard. He's never played D&D, so he doesn't understand. Just saying.
Is trained on a gun, especially a sniper rifle like that, is a registered Republican, and then can...
Yes, he's registered, or he was registered as a Republican, but he also donated to the Democratic Party on Act Blue. So I wonder about that. Anyway.
And access anywhere near the vicinity of that crowd, of that event, with him not dressed in a uniform and that sniper rifle. He was wearing American flag t-shirt and pants, and he had a rifle. You're going to tell me that that kid went through all this levels of security, somehow got into the closest building to the president, then accessed the rooftop of the closest building to the president?
He didn't get access to the building. There was a ladder. All he had to do was climb the ladder and get on the roof. So it makes me wonder, was he just walking around that area with a ladder and a rifle? Or here's the super conspiracy. Ladder and rifle were already there. All he needed to go do was climb up on the roof, grab the rifle, and shoot. That's super conspiracy. Less of a conspiracy. He went there with the rifle. The ladder was already there. He climbed the ladder and did it. Tin pot weird idea is he grabbed the ladder himself. He had the rifle himself. He found a roof that didn't have any security on it, and it was just happenstance that happened. I think you're crazier believing in the lone gunman idea than in him having at least a little bit of help. My opinion.
Then had the time to unpack his rifle, lay down in the prone, and then take 5 to 8 well-aimed shots at the president before he was decisively engaged by the Secret Service's counter sniper teams or a local police department. I don't know who they were. Most likely police. You're going to tell me all that happened and a 20-year-old kid did that without it being heavily planned, coordinated, and people on the inside making it happen? There's absolutely no way possible that kid was able to get up there and take those shots at the president without a lot of internal help. So someone in that local or some people inside that local police department agency or the Secret Service is compromised and is a threat to our president. So we need to stop worrying about that damn shooter and start worrying about who allowed this shit to happen. And President Trump, if you need an American to protect you who's actually good at sniping and stopping this crap, give me a call. I'll do it for free. Everybody.
Yeah. I'm not a trained sniper. I have shot a rifle before, though. I would say even a poor shooter with a good rifle and a good scope can get ammo pretty close to the target. I would say if he was trained, this wouldn't have been a situation. So I think if you consider him not as the shooter but as the weapon, it was not the best weapon for the job. and whoever pointed him as the weapon at the target, they should have picked someone that actually knew how to shoot better. Again, I could be mistaken. It could be the lone gunman, but I don't think so. Anyway, so I've showed this image on quite a few different feeds, but here it is. He was here. I don't know if that was just looks like a sidewalk. So I think the ladder was maybe right here, or was over here. I think it was over here. But ladder, building, shoot. How'd he get the ladder there? How'd he get the rifle there? Why wasn't there security on this building? Where else would you want to have security? They had the counter snipers right there. And the reason why they were trained on this roof was because that's the only place that a potential assailant could go from, is right there. So why didn't they just have a cop up there on the roof? It would have been easy. Again, tinfoil hat, getting really tight on my head at this point. So here's the guy. Government's position seems to be that this mentally deranged killer outsmarted the Secret Service and the FBI, who now say they can't get into his phone. Either this 20-year-old was a super spy, the agencies are lying or incompetent, and we need mass firings. Insane. I agree with Robbie Starbuck. Either he was a super spy, or the agencies are either lying or they're completely incompetent. And either way, mass firings need to happen. So I already read that one. Here's an interesting video by Colin Rugg. And let me back this up a little bit.
That the roof where the shooter was located was a well-known, high-priority vulnerability. It was identified just the day before during a security walkthrough. We've also just learned that there were 2 counter-sniper teams.
Here's a video for you. Interesting.
That the roof where the shooter was located was a well-known, high-priority vulnerability. It was identified just the day before during a security walkthrough. We've also just learned that there were 2 counter-sniper teams on site and that the counter-sniper did not need approval to shoot. One source telling NBC News that prior protocols were not followed. That the roof.
So I've got some questions about that. The protocol that I've heard, and I may be wrong, is that they cannot shoot unless the shooter shoots first. That sounds a bit weird, but it possibly could be that is protocol. And if that is the case, I would say that the sniper did follow protocol. If that's not the case, the sniper, he shot very soon after the first shot happened, and again, how long did it take for him to locate the sniper? I would say the counter sniper wasn't the problem. It was the lack of security on that one building. And according to this report, they already knew that the building was a security risk. Why didn't they put one person up on it? That's insane. Anyway, to finish off the little bit of conspiracy theories, let's listen to Alex Jones, because he's the top. All right.
This is a maximum alert concerning the future of our country, our republic, and the world. The Secret Service stood down. It is the default to have Secret Service and or law enforcement on every rooftop up to a half mile out or further. Those rooftops were 450 feet away. No one was on the rooftops. That is not a failure of security. That is a stand down. Now, let's be clear. JFK gave the order to start the withdrawal of U.S. troops, and 1 month later had his head blown off in Dallas, Texas in 1963 at Dealey Plaza. Trump has said he will end the war in Ukraine overnight. The U.S. funds 80% of it. He has that power when he's president of the United States. And I told you this week over and over again that they're going to try to assassinate him before the election, and then during the 79 days that he's president-elect, until he gets sworn in January of 2025, is the 79 days of hell. The globalists have already said they're going to have civil unrest. They're going to call it a racial civil war. So let's be clear. Trump will now win in a landslide. No amount of fraud can override this. So if the deep state has already tried to kill him and indicted him and found him guilty and tried to take him off the ballot, what are they going to do? They are going to try to kill Trump. Now, listen to me carefully. I've studied the enemy. My predictions are 98% of the time accurate. And I'm saying this so we can be ahead of this and stop it. The next thing they're going to do is try to poison him and claim it's natural causes. Got to be extremely vigilant. They'll also try to use the truck bomb. Okay? And if he goes back out in public, the same Secret Service that stood down is going to do it again. Now, the average Secret Service agent isn't part of this, but it's from the top, from the Biden administration. Just by only giving him a few Secret Service, that would happen. But the fact that they didn't have law enforcement that augments them on the rooftops is just insane. That's the number one place that shooters come from, is nearby rooftops. That's just a default fact. Ladies and gentlemen, they also haven't given RFK Jr. any Secret Service. They murdered his own.
To finish it off, I think we'll go to the head honcho of the conspiracy theorists, Alex Jones. Sometimes he's a little bit over the top. They're turning the frogs gay, and other things. The globalists are coming to kill us. Sometimes he hits the nail right on the head. He did warn us all about 9/11, I think like 9 months before it happened. So again, a little bit over the top. However, there are times that he's a little bit prescient. So let's go with this.
This is a maximum alert concerning the future of our country, our republic, and the world. The Secret Service stood down. It is the default to have Secret Service and or law enforcement on every rooftop up to a half mile out or further. Those rooftops were 450 feet away. No one was on the rooftops. That is not a failure of security. That is a stand down. Now, let's be clear. JFK gave the order to start the withdrawal of U.S. troops, and 1 month later had his head blown off in Dallas, Texas in 1963 at Dealey Plaza. Trump has said he will end the war in Ukraine overnight. The U.S. funds 80% of it. He has that power when he's president of the United States. And I told you this week over and over again that they're going to try to assassinate him before the election, and then during the 79 days that he's president-elect, until he gets sworn in January of 2025, is the 79 days of hell. The globalists have already said they're going to have civil unrest. They're going to call it a racial civil war. So let's be clear. Trump will now win in a landslide. No amount of fraud can override this. So if the deep state has already tried to kill him and indicted him and found him guilty and tried to take him off the ballot, what are they going to do? They are going to try to kill Trump. Now, listen to me carefully. I've studied the enemy. My predictions are 98% of the time accurate. And I'm saying this so we can be ahead of this and stop it. The next thing they're going to do is try to poison him and claim it's natural causes. Got to be extremely vigilant. They'll also try to use the truck bomb. Okay? And if he goes back out in public, the same Secret Service that stood down is going to do it again. Now, the average Secret Service agent isn't part of this, but it's from the top, from the Biden administration. Just by only giving him a few Secret Service, that would happen. But The fact that they didn't have law enforcement that augments them on the rooftops is just insane. That's the number one place that shooters come from, is nearby rooftops. That's just a default fact. Ladies and gentlemen, they also haven't given RFK Jr. any Secret Service. They murdered his uncle and his father.
Yeah, I cannot express how frustrated I am that RFK Jr. does not have Secret Service protection. I would say that shows how incompetent, evil, some combination of the two that the Biden administration is. They're willing to let presidential candidates be targeted instead of protected because of, I don't know why. And RFK Jr., I would say, if not for the shenanigans in the primaries, RFK Jr. would be the the presidential nominee on the Democrat side. Because Biden is, well, everybody's seen him recently on the debate stage, and since then he's not a well man. And so if everything was fair, RFK Jr. would be the Democrat presidential candidate going against Trump. And he should have Secret Service protection.
The same deep state. So Trump is in maximum danger of poisoning, truck bombs. The globalists might hijack a plane by remote control, flight into Mar-a-Lago. I'm not.
That's a little bit crazy to think that far, but there have been enough mysterious circumstances that things have happened that I wouldn't put it past some of these people from trying to take Trump out in any way that they could, whether that's to get another patsy, to cut his brakes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In any way they can, I'm sure they want to. He is the enemy of the state at this point because he is it seems like he's not part of the club. When he was in office for those 4 years, they tried everything that they could to get rid of him, other than assassination. They did character assassination, but not bullets and guns. So I hope and pray for Trump's safety, but it's a crazy world that we live in, and crazy times. If you're wanting me to cover something that's more local to Oneida County, please contact me. Let me know what's going on. I would love to cover more stories that are a little bit more local, but I need people to communicate with me so that I can do stories on them. Anyway, if you like what I do, please like, share, subscribe, share the information or share my channels with those that you know, and we'll see you on the next one.